come up with some great things, some great ways of thinking. Thinking, the hardest work there is. That's why so few people are engaged in it, Henry Ford said, remember? And it's true, most people don't think. Now, how do you think? You think consciously. Ask yourself great questions. Every morning, wake up and ask yourself some great questions. 5 or 6 great questions. On the mirror in our bathroom, we have some questions. We've got morning questions and evening questions. And in the morning while I brush my teeth, I look at those questions and I remind myself what I want my day to be about. When I wake up in the morning, I say that phrase. Before I even get out of bed, while I'm on my back, as I open my eyes, I say it, either in my head or out loud. But I've said it for 17 years, so it's automatically programmed in me. I look at those questions and I ask myself, what do I want to do today? And I know that also grace is also guiding me, so I say, well, you know what, whatever, use me, put me in places where I can serve people. But it's about being conscious and asking yourself great questions. When something goes wrong, look here, when you get to a place where you achieve your dreams, and you're growing and life is going great and you're making great business and your business is growing 20, 30% a year, things are, you feel on fire. Does that mean your problems go away? No, you just got a better quality of problem now, right? It's a bigger problem. It's a much bigger problem. It's a better quality of problem. But you got to understand how you approach it. Got to ask yourself the right questions. If something goes wrong, see what I did was when I got to Euston Station in 2010 and I sat in the station one night, I remember the first night I sat there, I was cold. It was cold, and I looked around. There was about 15, 20 people sitting in the station. Some were there. I don't know why they were there. They were probably waiting and had luggage, etc. But some people were there because they had nowhere to go, like me. And I looked around and I started thinking about my journey. I thought, wow, 1999, cocaine addict, 65 grand in debt, sleeping on my friend's couch. And then 2004, wow, life was amazing. 2010, and I started giggling about it. And have you ever tried to stifle a laugh and then it just comes out more, right? I started laughing so hard that people around me started moving away. Because they thought I was a nutter, right? I thought there's one of those crazy dudes, right? But I laughed so hard because it hit me right between the eyes. And I realized that, what I thought was going to make me happy was not the answer. I had to learn how to be happy without anything. And then I look at that was a gift, that experience. Because I had to learn how to live on nothing. And I made a decision, a conscious decision that I was going to be happy no matter what. I made a conscious decision that I was going to find at least 5 things every day to be grateful for, in spite of the fact that everything around me, my visual evidence, was that my life sucked. Now, was it easy? No, it wasn't, because I had mood swings, obviously. Sometimes I was happy, sometimes I was angry, sometimes I was frustrated, sometimes I was just pissed off with myself. Sometimes I gave myself a hard time, but I kept reminding myself, what do I need to focus on right now? What kind of question can I ask myself right now? What can I be grateful for right now? These are great questions. And I looked around and I said, what's great about this problem right now? And my brain said, nothing. I said, but what could be great about this problem? My brain said, nothing. But I kept asking the question, what could be great? What could I learn about this experience? That if I could learn about this experience and I could package this in a way that I could share it with other people, that they could learn something else for their life, what could be great about it? I just kept asking the question. And then the answers started coming. Great answers. I started writing them down. I said, this is what I'm going to focus on. So wherever you are right now, you've got to keep growing. Wherever you are right now, you've got to be grateful for whatever shows up in your life. Some of you perhaps are going through a tough time right now. I used to think I was going through hell. And then I remember reading Winston Churchill's phrase, and he said, if you're going through hell, keep going. I thought, wow, concept, right? Better keep going. As I settled there for a while and started blaming everything else. And I thought, well, this is my lot in life. And a lot of people, it happens to them. Yes or no? Yeah. So whatever you're going through right now is a gift. Everything is always on the way. John DeMartini says that a lot. I love it. When I heard that for the first time, I thought, well, easy for you. My life doesn't reflect that right now, because I was pissed off at that moment. But I listened to the phrase, I said, wow, nothing is ever in the way. Everything is always on the way. So that means that my challenge right now is not in my way, it's actually on my way. So how can it serve me? And I remember that phrase that I read in 1988. Every adversity has within it a seed of equivalent or greater benefit. So if you can be conscious about how you think. Now, when you're conscious about how you think, this is the best thing about being conscious when you think. You're going to start hearing your own thoughts consciously. Sometimes it freaks you out. You say, wow, that's not my thought. Where did that come from? Because your mind, this is one of the laws of the mind. You have an antenna sticking out of your head. Everyone's got one. Every single person on this planet. And it's emitting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days every year. It's always sending and receiving thought. Always. Thought vibration. Everything exists in thought vibration first. And you are constantly sending and receiving thoughts all day long. Here's the challenge though. The majority of the human race are unconscious 99% of the day. They're not even aware of what they're sending and what they're receiving. And then when they receive a thought, they even have an argument with themselves about it. They start arguing with themselves about it. It's not even their own thought. Isn't that amazing? Some of you are chuckling. You probably relate to this, right? This is fascinating. People start arguing. You can see on their face they argue with themselves. When you walk up to people, they're not even present. They're not present because they're having a conversation with themselves. They got a little voice. It's called a critic, and it's always talking. If you said which voice, that one. Here's the best part about this conversation, though. You also have a magician, and the magician lives right here in your heart. And the magician is always saying, excuse me, but it only speaks very softly because the critic's so loud. Some of you, it's your mother's voice. Some of you, it's your father's voice. Some of you, it's an older brother or a teacher or somebody who influenced you when you were young, who put some kind of thought in your mind that perhaps you can only rise to a certain level in life. And anything above there is for special people. And that is utter BS. Everybody deserves to be rich. When I say rich, not financially rich, I mean rich in every context of the word, right? All the wheel, the whole wheel, the 7 aspects of life. So you've got to be spiritually rich, financially rich, relationship rich, all of those things, health rich. Everyone deserves to be rich. And yeah, in the Western world that we live in right now, how many people actually can count themselves as being rich? I mean fulfilled, happy, content, financially free, and living life on in great terms. Great relationships with their kids, great relations with their spouse, great relations with their business partners. When you meet them, they're present. When you talk to them, they're present. They're not arguing with themselves. They're not listening to answer. They're actually listening to hear. When do you meet people like that? When you meet someone like that, they leave a mark on you. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And you've probably met someone like that. They used to say when Nelson Mandela walked into a room, even though you didn't know he walked in, you could feel him. You could feel his energy. They said the same thing about Mother Teresa. The same thing about Gandhi. The same thing about all of those kind of people. Why? Because they're conscious. They're consciously aware of what they think about. They're consciously aware of the conversation they have themselves, and they're consciously aware of where they're going in life. Not only do they have an intention, they back it up with action every single day. Does this make sense? Yeah. So you say, how does this apply to my business? Say it. How does this apply to my business, Alan? What do you have to, thank you very much. You've got to have a dream for your business. You've got to get around the right people on a regular basis. This is a great environment, isn't it? Khaled's put together a great environment here where you guys come together regularly and you connect with other people. When you walk in here, I'm always amazed at networking events. When I arrived here earlier, I tried to say hello to as many of you as I could before we started, but it was difficult to get around. But I'm always amazed when people come in and they spend the whole networking time in the same corner, talking to the same person, right? You've got to meet people. There's no accidents. Who knows who you're sitting next to? You could be sitting next to someone you've never met them before, but that could be the next JV you do. That could be the next business opportunity for you. It could be the next partnership. Could be the next intimate relationship if you're single. You don't know, right? Some of your eyes just went big. Hey, I'm in. I'm in. So I'm telling you all of this. The reason I share this with you is because you want to be conscious. So you make a decision to yourself. And when you make a decision, like Tony always says, when you make a decision, your destiny is shaped. When you make a decision right now, it shapes your destiny. It shapes where you're going to end up in 5 years' time. It shapes where you're going to end up in 10 years' time. But you've got to make a decision consciously. So the first decision you can make is, you know what, I'm going to be conscious with my thoughts. I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to stop arguing with myself. I'm just going to notice thoughts. And when the thought comes in, that you don't particularly agree with, or a thought that you know it's not going to serve you, or it's not going to take you in the direction you want to go, you just look at it like a red bus in London. You look at it, you wave it, you let it go past. You don't have to get on every bus. You don't have to get engaged with every thought, as it might not be your thought, as your aerial might have picked up someone else's thinking. Yes or no? Yeah? So you just engage with the great thoughts, and you let the other ones pass by. You're going to have anywhere between 60 and 90,000 thoughts are going to pass through your head in the next 24 hours, depending on how fast you think and speak. 60 to 90,000. The sad thing for most adults is the same 60 or 90,000 that passed through their head today, passed through yesterday, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before. They haven't changed their thinking because we are creatures of habit. So how do you change where you want to go and you want to make these real? How do you change where you want to go and you want to make all of this real? You want to grow your business. You want to have great relationships. You don't want to grow your business at the cost of your relationships, which is what a lot of people do, right? So you want to have it all together. You want to master everything. You want to work on all the areas and be happy while you're doing it, happily achieving. How do you do that? Just start by being conscious. Start by being conscious and notice what you think about and give yourself the benefit of being kind to yourself. What a concept. The day I decided to start being more kind to myself and forgive myself and be, more forgiving with myself, everything began to change. So you just be more conscious, notice what thoughts are going through your head. Don't get engaged in a conversation with yourself, an argument especially about any thought that might not be yours. Just say, how fascinating, when you have a bad thought or when something goes wrong. Something goes wrong, in spite of all your great intentions, something might go awry, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, then you say, how fascinating. Wonder what I could learn from this. Yeah, what is the universe giving me right now to learn? Maybe the universe wants me to learn something about myself right now. Maybe I need to learn something about myself and my business acumen. Maybe I need to bring in another mentor. Maybe I need another coach. Right? There's no accidents. You are attracting everything at every level. Everything. And I'll give you one last story to prove that point before I close. My friend used to listen to me say, what do you mean? You always say this. You always say you're attracting everything. I don't attract everything. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, I certainly didn't attract the fact that someone scraped 2 long marks down the edge, down both sides of my new BMW. So I said, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Really? He said, yeah, down both sides. Somebody keyed my BM. So I said, oh, okay, cool. So I said, and you don't think you attracted that? He says, no, I didn't attract that. What did I do? I just parked my car and someone scratched my car. They obviously don't like my new car, new 6 Series BMW convertible in South Africa. And I said, oh, so you definitely don't think you attracted that? He said, no. I said, I think you did. He said, no, how can you say that? I don't agree. And he started getting irate. I said, think about it. I said, I've traveled with you in a car. I've traveled in your car. I said, whenever you park your car anywhere, what do you say as you're walking away from your car, as you parking your car? What do you say? And the light went on for him and he said, oh my God. He always used to say, I better park my car so no one can scratch it. Park it safe, right? And he used to walk away and say, I hope no one scratches my car. I said, you literally attracted that. So he said, but I'm saying I hope no one scratches my car. I said, the universe doesn't actually hear no. It doesn't hear no or not. So when you park your car, you're going to say, thank you for looking after my car. Much better thing to say, right?
Yeah.
And the penny dropped for him. And he said, wow. And he's never had that experience ever again. And he had that experience more than once before that. I met a man once who developed hemorrhoids. Yeah? Probably a subject you don't want to talk about in a large space like this, right? Amongst people you haven't met yet. However, the same thing applies though. The same principle applies. Whenever someone used to cut him up in the traffic, he used to get angry. He used to say, arsehole! And eventually he manifested that. Right? So, let that be food for thought for you, right? Let that be food for thought. Whatever you utter, whatever you think, whatever you vibrate is sending a message to the universe constantly, all the time. And you will get the feedback. And sometimes the feedback is painful. If you don't like the feedback, you need to sit down and say, what am I doing to create this feedback? How am I attracting this feedback? What is the lesson I need to learn right now? What does the universe want me to learn about myself and about life right now? What can I let go that no longer serves me? What do I need to bring into my life that's going to serve me to go forward? Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.